Greetings, he fans and she ravers. Don't you just hate it when that happens?
Blast!
Got another cool Masters of the Universe custom item for you. This is my vintage Hordak figure, and not too long after I picked him up, one of his legs broke off, the rubber band in there, and I've tried everything short of replacing one of the original rubber bands in there.
I don't know who you are, but your rescue is too late.
It doesn't work. He doesn't stand on his own, even with the custom stands that I reviewed a while ago. It just doesn't work. One of the most frustrating things about He-Man figures, the vintage ones, and Horde figures, which are the same construction, is that the rubber bands in them are not easily replaceable. They're not like G.I. Joe figures where you can just use a screwdriver, unscrew the back, pop in a new cheap O-ring, and it's even a little fun to do that. But these Masters of the Universe figures, anytime one of the legs have come off because the rubber band inside broke, I tried using this 3M two-way tape and it's just not working. So I wasn't sure what I was going to do about this Hordak. I've actually been looking for a new Hordak figure just because I can't seem to fix this. I mean, there's ways to do it, but I didn't want it to just be adequate. I wanted it to be like new. We want our classic vintage He-Man figures to be as good as new when they break. Like I said, that's the great thing about the custom G.I. Joe O-rings, the new O-rings and screws. You can make your old favorite Joes as good as new, but these He-Man figures were this is such a weird, unique design. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can't go into a Home Depot and buy these things. Luckily, for everyone who has a figure that broke like this, there is a new product.
And it looks like I found one!
And it is from the good folks at Amos del Retro. It's a product from Argentina, but they offer worldwide shipping. And the thing I really love about this right off the bat, being a vintage toy fan, we all know that it's not just the toy, it's the packaging. Look at this packaging here. A little bit of 3M stuck to it. Got the logo on here. Got the details injected in a steel matrix. Easy to replace, excellent quality, made by fans, for fans. That's the important part right there. I find the best stuff these days is by fans. Those third-party Transformers, these cool customs that I'm showing you on this channel, this is by a fan. So you can rest assured in knowing that when you purchase this product that you're helping out someone who has the same passion for this stuff as you do. So you get a whole bunch of them.
Whatever those objects are, they're not meteors, and I want them!
We're going to go through how to replace the rubber bands in your Masters of the Universe figure legs. So first things first, whenever you're working on any sort of custom repair work, it's very important to remember that you got to have the right tools for the job.
Yes, yes!
One of my bad habits when I was younger is that I would just look around the house and use whatever was there. And it caused a lot of frustration and just basically a poor final product. You have to have the right tools for the job. So I recommend a pair of small needle nose pliers. Here's a regular sized one. These are even smaller. You're doing a little bit of intricate work here. This is work for the parents, so if the kids are watching this video, ask your parent or guardian to help you out with this, because it's we don't want you to get hurt. Some of these things are sharp, but get yourself some needle nose pliers. I don't know if these are going to come in handy, side cutters, but I think you might also want to have one of these types of screwdrivers, something long that'll allow you to push the rubber. Anything like that'll do, but you're definitely going to want the right tools for the job. So the first step that we have to go through is to remove the existing rubber from the old legs. And this is really old rubber, which I haven't tried heating this up first, but I don't think it's going to come out very easily.
This could take all night.
Let's see, it's just breaking off into little pieces. So in order to make your life easier, whenever you're working on customizing, repairing things, heat up the plastic. So there's two ways of doing it. You can either dunk it in some hot water for a couple of seconds, or another technique is to use a blow dryer, a hair dryer set on hot setting. Some people have opinions on one method may damage the plastic more than the other. I've always preferred the hair dryer because it lets me isolate the one area. It doesn't make the thing wet. I'm less likely to burn myself by heating the entire thing. So I like to go the hair dryer route.
We need more power!
So we've heated that up a bit, and it's a little softer now. I can actually press it with my fingers. Now you just have to dig. So it is breaking apart. Another technique we can try is to just dig in there. And now that we have heated up the plastic a little bit, it's not as likely to tear right here on the edge. This is just going to take a little bit of patience to dig that out of there.
There is no hurry.
Now that I've got a little bit of the stuff on the top dug out, I'm going to heat it up again. And we can go back to digging with the needle nose pliers again. Look at that. That's a big chunk of it. It just came out. I could still see a little bit in here. You're going to want to get as much of the old stuff out as possible. Ideally everything. Give it a little tap. And that looks nice and clean in there now.
Good! Very good!
The cleaner that you get it in there, the tighter fit that the new connectors are going to have, more secure it's going to be. So that's one leg down, one to go. So we take the second leg and we're going to heat this one up too. If you smell rubber burning, then you've done it too long. And you might want to take this outside because I do notice a little bit of an odoriferous emanation coming from this old rubber. We're almost there. And this is really a good tool for this. It's just comes in a set. Bought them to replace the screws in my G.I. Joes. This is a flathead. So it's sharp enough to dig out this rubber while not actually cutting or damaging any of the plastic. Look at that, comes right out. And that looks fairly clean, still a little bit in there. Lovely. So since there's rubber dust, rubber bits in there, I'm actually going to rinse these out, and I'm going to grab my vacuum cleaner so that I can vacuum up this mess.
Better clear the way.
So the first thing you're going to want to do is feed one of these connectors through the waste. And there are two gaps here. You have to be careful that you don't feed it through this gap right here, the bottom gap. There's another gap up here that goes over the top here. You want to feed it, I'm going to feed this elastic through there. Some needle nose pliers to get at it. See how that goes over the top there? If you feed it through the bottom, this thing's too long. That's not where it's supposed to go through. And you're going to be able to see the rubber coming out like that.
Pretty good, huh? Not good enough, rebel!
You want to go through the top part here. And to make our life a little easier, we're going to heat this up a little bit. It's got some give in it, but by heating it up, either with warm water or a hairdryer, it'll make it a little bit more pliable. It doesn't take much and it already feels a lot more pliable. So you can use string. I don't know if fishing line would work. I might cut it. I like to use this little hair elastic. And what we do is we pull, and while we're pulling, we're also pushing with our little screwdriver tool. And that feels like it's almost through. I was expecting this to be a lot more difficult than it actually was. That was really easy. Wow. I gotta say, I'm actually really impressed. I thought that was gonna be really tough, but this stuff is really pliable. I'm impressed. Wow. Good job. Not to me, good job to these fine folks. Okay, next part is we've got to attach the legs to these knobs here. So again, by heating these up, it seems to really make the whole process easier. So we're going to start by heating up the leg. And this is a tricky part. If you're using a hairdryer to heat this part up, don't heat up the vinyl. You're going to damage it. So make sure it's hanging down like this. That's good. And now we have to pop this in here. And you're going to need your pushing tool to push it in while being careful. Pan down again, while being careful to not cut it, tear it, rip it. And that's, wow, that is really easy. That was incredibly easy. I thought that part was going to be difficult too. I've got just a tiny bit left to push in the bottom here. This is a tough thing to film for you folks here, but just like that, and it's in there. It's in there securely. We give it a nice little tug. That's awesome. He's in there nice and secure. Alright, so we've got one more to go, and think ahead here. This is the important thing. When you are going to connect this leg here, make sure that this leg is sitting in. Sometimes they're going to want to go up like that, out of place. It needs to fit in the ball. So you got to think ahead here, and when you attach the other leg, you got to attach it the way it's going to stand. You can't have this leg twisting over like this and connect that leg. Then you're going to have that problem that some of the classic Masters of the Universe figures have, where they don't stand right. That's why, because the legs weren't attached properly in the same direction, I'm trying to say. So we pull that out, and this leg on mine just wants to go in like that. He wants to go knock-kneed. I need to make sure that the leg is out and its natural resting spot is out. So I twist it a little bit so that it twists inside. Now you can see the natural resting spot. It doesn't want to go knock-kneed again. That's in there the way it's supposed to be now. So now we just have to attach that. You are going to need the pliers to pull this out. Before we do that, again, it seems to be making my life a lot easier here. We're going to warm up the leg, warm up the head of the connector. And to warm up this part, I would recommend pulling it out a little bit like this It's tricky. And it gets a little warm. So zoom out here and make sure that I'm getting the whole thing. Leg is in the right position, and we pull this out as much as possible. And we want the leg to be like that. And you might want to ask for some help for this part. It's a lot going on for just 2 hands, but I'm already again impressed by how easily that just popped in there. I'm about halfway through, but the first part popped in and it's holding. It's making my life so easy. Just the fact that the first half popped in there. Now, I don't want to pop this out completely as I'm trying to get in the back part, but it's holding. I'm really impressed with how well a partial insertion holds. Look at that. I thought this was going to be not fun. One of the major reasons why I've put off doing this and why I figured, I'll just go and buy a new Hordak. Don't want to deal with this, but that was easy. That was really, really easy. And voila.
At last it's finished, a thing of beauty.
He is repaired. That is fantastic. That's awesome. Big thank you to Amos del Retro. This is a fantastic product. I don't share things on this channel to my fellow toy collecting fans unless I really believe in it. It's got to be really special, and this is awesome. This was the hardest part of it. Has nothing to do with these folks. It's cleaning the old stuff out of it, so that's not on them. For their part, extremely easy it was for me to feed it through the figure, to pop it into the leg joints. That could have been extremely tricky. I mean, that's, like I said, a 3 or 4 hand task, but I'm extremely impressed. So we finally have a way to repair our vintage Masters of the Universe figures in a way that restores them to their original condition. Look how sturdy he is.
Why, it'll be just like the old days.
I'm definitely going to be using one of these on my Randor figure.
And how long will that take?
His band broke a while ago, and I just used one of those orange elastics in here, and it just does not do the job. I actually installed the hooks in here. That's one of the techniques that people do. They install screw hooks, and I don't like that. Especially, it's not very sturdy. It's damaging in a way, the vintage figure, screwing into it. It's too late for this guy, but for other figures it's nice to know I won't have to be screwing in screw hooks, and I'll be able to repair figures like that to where they're nice and sturdy instead of doing the Jean-Claude Van Damme splits. So if you'd like to get some of your own, they are available on the website at www.amosdelretro.com. Javier is a class act.
I'll know just who to ask for.
All of the people whose customs I share on this channel are class acts. They're good people, and I highly recommend dealing with all of them. So you can get them at his website. The prices right now are 10 connectors in a bag like the one I showed you for $20 US, or 50 for $55 US, or 100 for $100 US. So the more you buy, the more you save. And it is a great value, because when you think of it, there's no way to fix these things. They're very old. Some of them are worth a lot, like that Randor figure. He's one of the rare figures, Sorceress Ninjor. What are you going to do? Come up with the screw method where you're sort of damaging the figure and it's not even a really good repair? Or this technique where this is not coming out. That's in there sturdy. I love it. I love that you can grab this guy and move him around, and those are not going to pop out. And here's Hordak on his praying mantis steed, and just to show you how sturdy this is, he's holding the entire weight of this thing. Got his feet in the straps here, and those are not popping out. That is just as good as new. That's what I really like about it. The peace of mind.
Oh, exactly!
It's well made. It's like the original. It's like replacing a G.I. Joe O-ring with basically an identical O-ring to the originals, or a screw. I love the fact that these are like what they originally used on these figures. So you can get them at the Amos Del Retro website, or you can check out their eBay store. The link is provided in the show notes, or you can just do a search on eBay for MOTU connectors, and you'll see a picture of their injection machine, which is how they make these. And these are rubber, so that's important to note. They're rubber, and they have flexibility, they have give, they're durable. These, I guess, some make them in 3D printers, and that's not a good idea with the engineering of these figures. It's going to be too fragile. Any sort of movement is going to cause them to break. These are just like the old ones, the original ones. So great construction. Really impressed. Really, I can't stress enough how impressed I am with how easy it was to replace it, to feed it through, to pop it in, just, you know, using this, something like this. Like, it was incredibly easy. You don't need all sorts of elaborate tools, just a little bit of patience, and some way to warm up the plastic too, the legs and also the rubber. That'll make things a little bit easier for you. So there you go. That's how you repair your vintage Masters of the Universe figures. No need to go on eBay or to toy shows hunting for a figure you already have but it's broken. Now you can restore, and restoring your vintage toys back to their original state can be a really fun thing too. This Hordak is in great condition. Nice paint on him, nice and shiny. And it really broke my heart that he fell apart like that and looked like he was going to be basically going into a storage bin, or I'd have to permanently, you know, glue the legs on or do the screw hook method, which I really don't like doing. So thank you very much to Amos Del Retro for giving me back this vintage Hordak and restoring him to his former glory. So if you have some vintage Masters of the Universe figures or Horde figures that need repair, definitely check out Amos Del Retro, and also feel free to share with your fellow He-Man fans so they can fix their figures too. Thanks for watching, and until next time, Nerdmas Day.